I decided to sell everything that I owned entirely on a whim in 3 days to move from California to Iceland. But before we get into that, hi, I'm Vanessa. I'm a practical and spiritual alignment guide, aka a life coach. Basically what that means is I help people align with the highest versions of themselves so that they can live a life overflowing in abundance and get whatever they want. So if you're interested in booking a session with me, feel free to check the link in the description. You can DM me on any of my social medias there and get more information. Oh, and I vlog every day on my second channel, Venus Slime Journal. Iceland is on there, so if you're interested, you can go to that. Anyways, let's get into the video. So I have some notes on my iPad so that I don't forget anything. So basically it starts California 2025. I had just moved from Orange County to Los Angeles a few months prior and had been begging my best friend to come visit me like non-stop since 2024, and she was just not shaking on it, and eventually she finally did. So now it's November. She was going to be staying with me and my boyfriend at the time for a month, and it was going to be great. I picked her up at the airport. We were having a blast. She had never been to the beach before, and so I was going to take her to the beach. We were going to do all the things, and it was so splendid. I at the time was also planning on going to a retreat in Ireland at the beginning of next year, but I kept calling it Iceland. This is key. Let's circle back to this. I would be like, oh yeah, I'm going to this retreat in Iceland, and they're like, oh, and I'm describing it, and they're like, that sounds like Ireland, and it was Ireland. I had no plans to go to Iceland. Then my best friend and I were hanging out in my favorite city, Laguna Beach. We are drinking our Better Buzz oat milk chai lattes. Not sponsored, but love them. If you ever have the opportunity, the best chai. And you could taste the love in it. So we're walking around, it's beautiful. My boyfriend and I were looking at this house. We were planning on moving to Laguna Beach. At the time, we were living in Irvine, and we were like, yes, we want to live here. We found the perfect house. I loved it. It was great. So we're driving by because I want to show Alice, my best friend, the house. I want to tell her about it. She already knows, but I was like, you need to see this. And at this time, I had lived in this carriage house inside of a barn right before where I was currently living in Irvine, right? And I always live in these magnificent places. So I can even make some videos about that because I've manifested three insane places, honestly 4, maybe even 5 crazy places that I've lived. That's something that I'm very good at. So we were like, okay. So I call my real estate agent and I'm like, hey girl, can you give me another tour of the house? I just really want to show my friend, and I really just want to double check and make sure this is where I want to be. She starts flipping out. It's so bad. I'm like, I'm not even listening. We're outside of the shop that we were going to go in, and we're just waiting. She's just going on and on and on and on. So I was just like, okay, whatever, goodbye. Finally, we hang up, we go in the shop. I'm compelled to ask this woman for a job. I didn't need a job, but I was asking. She's like, I'm in need of a photographer and I'm in need of someone to make me a website. I used to have my own photography business, and I had just made a website recently and I've made other websites. So I was like, I know how to make a website, I got you. Long story short, she F's me over. Literally, it's so bad. I'm so stressed. And I'm still calling Ireland, Iceland. And I was upset because I wasn't prioritizing my other work because I was going to be making a lot of money from this woman who ends up not even paying me. I did all this work for her. Let me relax. But I was so upset, and the lesson that I learned in that was prioritize yourself. This is all leading up to me going to Iceland, was prioritizing myself. So then we're driving around, and all of a sudden it's Alice and I are in each other's minds. We see this scene play out in France. I'm not going to go into detail because I don't want to put this on the internet just yet. But we see this scene play out with me, her, and this beautiful French man who we think is French. This is important. We decide we're going to name him Francois. He's very significant for later, okay? And I'll make a more detailed video about all of this in Francois. But for now, we're just going to leave it at that. But Alice and I were describing the same person and the same exact scene, to a T. What he looked like, where we were at. I was like, yeah, and this is to the right. And she's like, yes. And I was like, it was the same exact scene. So we were like, okay, this is significant. I need to meet this person. But I'm not going to seek him out because it felt inevitable. And I said Iceland so many times that I'm no longer thinking it's a coincidence. So Alice gets me my first deck, and we're like, let's ask the cards, right? Because at this point, why wouldn't we? So basically the question that I asked was, what will happen if I choose to go to Iceland? So Iceland, but, and with, if that makes sense. So the top card, the tower, was what happens if I go to Iceland. Basically, I will explain all of this in a second. But so the tower, but the Page of Pentacles, with the Nine of Cups, and the reverse Six of Pentacles. My current state was the Ten of Swords. And if you know what all of these things mean, you can skip this part of the video. And then the other one was if I choose to stay in California, it would be the reverse Five of Pentacles, but the reversed High Priestess, with the Two of Pentacles reversed, the Six of Cups, the Well, and the Two of Wands. So the Tower, for if I go to Iceland, the Tower shows up when you are living an illusion. You must remove the mask and expose the truth of the situation. In order to change it, change is difficult. You will be shaken, removed from your comfort zone, and the familiar will be broken down. The Tower reminds you to let go and let the ego fall away. Upheaval, change, shock, awakening. That was Iceland in a nutshell. But the Page of Pentacles. Be open-minded about new opportunities presented. This may take a form of a new skill to learn or a new adventure to take. With that excitement and curiosity, think about the potential lessons that you can learn from this new adventure. Portal, potential, discovery, curiosity, and opportunity. The Nine of Cups. Make a wish, but be careful what you wish for. When you see this card, it's time to state clear intentions for what it is that you want to call in your life. It's also a reminder that we can accomplish anything we desire if we have the will and determination to do so, and are true in our intent. What is your purpose? Get after it. Satisfaction, luck, safety, accomplishment. And the reversed Six of Pentacles. Ask yourself if there's an equal energetic exchange happening in your life. Do you sometimes find yourself more the giver or more of the taker? And where can you find balance in your relationships? Do you need to ask for help? And are you in a place to help someone else? Don't see it as a power struggle, but rather as a balance of power. Reverse means selfishness, greed, cruelty, and judgment. So I needed to ask myself if there was an equal energetic exchange happening. When I go to Iceland, I would be able to get everything that I want, make a wish, and it would come true. And there is a new adventure to take. But the Tower is upheaval. It is like this crash down of the ego. My current state was the Ten of Swords, which was true. When I tell you everything was going haywire at this point, like I was like, okay, maybe I can stay, like from my real estate agent. And she was just like a lot. And then something was happening with my car, which I will make a video about too, because I did get a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek, my dream car, for free. So we'll make a video about that. But everything was starting to go haywire. I didn't know what to do, and it was funny because this all was the illusion of choice. I didn't really have a choice. I was always going to go to Iceland. I needed to go to Iceland because everything was falling apart. And after I made the decision to go to Iceland, literally the next day everything fell apart, but we'll get there. So my current state was the Ten of Swords. It might seem as though all hope is lost, but is it? This setback is an opportunity to move on from something that might be hard to let go of or reconcile. Know that everything, good or bad, is temporary. Tomorrow is a new day, so view it as an opportunity to create what you want in life. Things need to change, and for the moment, that starts with you. It was reversed, so hope, recovery, and acceptance. This is funny because I just did my first Vipassana 10-day silent meditation in Ireland. So we have full circle to Ireland now. And one of the things that they kept talking about was knowing that everything good or bad is temporary. So impermanence. So if I would have stayed there, I would have had the Five of Pentacles reversed. Sometimes when we need help, we can find it in the most unlikely places. Don't be afraid to reach out. Take a look at the issues causing you pain and see what makes you feel like you're in survival mode. Ask yourself if it's your environment, a sense of lack, or feeling like you're the victim of your situation. Examine how you can escape the victim mentality so that you can continue to grow and expand. Reverse, financial recovery, spirituality, renewed confidence, opportunity. So it was all going to end up being okay if I chose California. But it said that I needed to ask myself if it's my environment, a sense of lack, or feeling like I'm the victim of my situation. And it was all of those things. California was great. I had been believing to move to California since I was like 5 years old. So living there was a dream come true. And it was great for a time, but it was also not great. And my boyfriend at the time, shout out to him, still an awesome person. We just weren't compatible in the way that we needed to be to have our relationship continue. And we tried and we tried and we tried, and ultimately it failed, and that's okay. And I wish him nothing but the best now. If I would have stayed, I think honestly everything was already just like falling apart. I think it would have just ended way worse than it did. So then we get the High Priestess. This is the butt. This is reversed as well. The High Priestess represents wisdom and enlightenment. She is in between two worlds and embodies the eternal feminine spirit. She is the guardian of the unconscious who guides us to look inward and listen to our own feelings and intuition. Repression, mistrust, secrets lost. If I would have stayed, I would be repressing myself. I knew I needed to go. Then we had the Two of Pentacles reversed. Find the balance when trying to do it all. This message might mean prioritizing what's most important over the least important so that you're not feeling overwhelmed. Make sure that there's a work-life balance and take care not to take on too much. It's a reminder that you are capable of handling challenges and adapting well. Reversed, irresponsible, neglect, disorganization, unpredictability. Then we have the Six of Cups, which is beautiful, nostalgia. What makes your inner child jump with joy? This card reminds us that it's time for some sweetness in your life. Appreciate the little things and do something kind for someone else. It's normal to feel nostalgic for the good old days. Just don't linger in the past for too long. Bring some of that love into the present. Nostalgia, innocence, joy, inner child, kind gestures. Then we have the Well. This is special just in this deck. It's made by Matt Hughes. Love this deck. The Well is a birthplace of ideas, inspiration, and transformation. All things are birthed from this creatrix. I don't think I'm saying that word right. Creatrix. Whose knowledge flows freely to those who seek it. Nurturing, opportunity, nature, creativity. And the last, we have Two of Wands. Now is the time to figure out your plans before acting on them. There are many potential paths. It's good to figure out which one feels right. Take time to sit with the initial spark of the idea and figure out if it's worth pursuing. It's okay to come back to it later, but what you return to might not be the same as when you left it. Planning, discovery, focus, preparation. They were like, girl, if you stay here, it's gonna suck. You need to go to Iceland. Me, my ex-boyfriend, and my best friend were all supposed to be taking a road trip to New Mexico from California in 3 days. And so now I'm like, I gotta sell everything I own and we gotta go. Before I even told him that I was going, I made a bunch of phone calls and I called all these people in New Mexico like, hey, I'm coming back to New Mexico for Thanksgiving anyways. Is there any way I can just stay until January? I feel like I'm gonna go to Iceland. I know this sounds crazy. Everyone's like, yeah, that's fine. Things magically just worked out. So I tell my ex-boyfriend, I really feel like I need to go to Iceland. Here's why. I explain it to him. He's like, okay, I don't wanna go with you. And I'm like, that's fine. I know I needed to go by myself. So we are like, okay, what are we gonna do? We kind of break up, we get back together, and then everything went haywire. Everything. I turn in a breaking of my lease for my place. We sell everything in 3 days. My best friend's like, ooh, this sounds rocky. Maybe I should take a flight because Vanessa doesn't want to let go of her Shiki Bhutan. If you've never heard of it, look it up. Best bed in the world. I had one and I did not want to get rid of it because I knew I needed somewhere to sleep until January. Also, my Berkey Crown water filter, didn't want to get rid of that either. So Alice took one for the team and she took a flight home. And she did it without me asking. I was gonna get rid of the things, but she knew how much they meant to me. We also, on this car ride, had a fish tank with 3 goldfish, 2 African dwarf frogs, 2 minnows, and a white fish. And they all survived. We got a travel fish tank. It was crazy. So I was like, okay, we're gonna figure it out. I think I'm going to Iceland. Originally, I'm thinking January 1st because I just heard January. I didn't know when. So I'm like, okay, it'll be January 1st. So I'm trying to figure out how to get there. I'm looking up artist residencies because I knew that I needed to be in Iceland for 3 months. I don't know how to explain it. I was just like, 3 months sounds right, and that's how long I'm gonna be there. Those aren't right. I look into woofing because someone I knew had heard of it, and that's not right. Finally, I find Workaway. Instantly, only one feels right. I message the host. He's like, I can pick you up tomorrow. You're great. At this point, it's past January 1st. But in my heart and in my gut, I am like, January 20th. I don't know how to describe it. So he's like, when can you come? So I'm like, how about January 20th? Because I'm 1 week away from January 20th. And that gives me some time to prepare. He's like, yeah, that's great. I have a French guy. Remember Francois? I have a French guy arriving on the same day. I can have this other person, not gonna name drop, pick the 2 of you up at the airport same time. I'm like, this is crazy. So Alice and I are talking about this. We see this whole other thing. We see Francois. I'm actually gonna leave that part out of the story, but we see something else. We're like, oh, and then we also see this part where I am standing in a first floor bedroom looking into the living room. That first floor bedroom became my room later. It was my second room. I stayed in a different room upstairs first. And I felt this presence of familiarity. And so I was like, is Francois there? So Alice and I are talking about this. We're like, yeah, we're pretty sure Francois is there, but he's not gonna be there the whole time. So we're like, okay, interesting. We'll see what this means. So when I finally arrive, the French guy is not Francois. The sick joke of the universe, God, Gaia, whatever you want to call it. It was a sick joke. The French guy was not Francois, which is fine. He's now one of my very good friends. But I'm not gonna say that Francois wasn't there. And that's all I'll say about that. And it was crazy because although I wasn't right about him being French, that was my perception that I put on it because it didn't make sense why we would be in France and why he wouldn't be French. I could tell that English wasn't his first language in the thing that Alice and I saw. So I'm like, yeah, he's French. No, he wasn't French, but it was funny because I still had the French guy. And it was like two ideas were combined into one. But the France thing that we've seen still hasn't happened yet. So if you're interested in more details, I can make a part 2. But yeah, Iceland was beautiful. Iceland was everything. And it wasn't just beautiful because like objectively it's beautiful. It was beautiful because I came home to myself. I had a place and people that felt like home and still feel like home. And I have seen one of them more times since Iceland. And it was magical. It was everything that I've ever wanted. I could cry. I trusted my gut. I trusted my intuition. I did the hard thing. I said goodbye to my ex-boyfriend. Oh, we did break up before I got to Iceland and we tried to remain friends. This was like around Christmas time. Eventually it got really hard. We were in different time zones to balance this friendship and it was complicated. And now, like I said, I'm in Ireland. So I love you. I believe in you. Anything is possible. Trust yourself and your intuition. You don't need the cards. Deep down in your gut, in your soul, if it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. And when I let go of control, when I let go of pushing, that was when I found everything I ever wanted. That was when Iceland arrived. I was forcing Ireland. It wasn't time. I went to Iceland January through April. It is August going into September and I'm just now in Ireland. Don't force it. Let it happen when it's time. I love you. Bye. Now I guess we just wait and see what happens because there is more to the story. A lot more that I saw. And I don't want to spoil it just yet.